in the ground out back to deter any walkers who might come up on shore there. And when one does, he lays a plank down so he can walk across them and silently handle the dead with his axe, as we saw. The rest of his day is pretty standard. He wakes up every morning, makes eggs and coffee. Bless his heart, he's got coffee. Does his chores around the yard, collects wild blueberries and plants, and plays Scrabble with himself, and watches movies when he's bored. The silence of his day is punctuated by the words he says aloud, trying to come up with a good one to use in Scrabble. Platypus is the one he settles on. Good word, right? Good word. John can't sleep, though. Oh, gee, I wouldn't be able to either, probably. He lies awake, staring at the ceiling until he hears a walker coming through the water. And in which case, he'll just get up and deal with it, right? One night, he hears something by the river. He thinks it's another one of the walkers, of course, but he finds Naomi. Smeared with mud, she lies barely conscious in a canoe, mumbling, "I have to get back." John brings her inside, gives her his bed, and treats the deep cut in her side as best he can. He leaves 2 butterscotch candies for her on the nightstand and tucks her into bed. Yeah, he tells her it's not a bite, so it's a good thing as far as that goes. So, what did you guys think so far? Interesting. And, of course, her presence in his life now breaks his silence. She's hesitant to share her story, though. So Laura, this 5th episode, continues to saunter through this flashback, revealing how those two met and fell in love. It holds an endearing quality, even though it's not all that remarkable a story. Through the sweetness of John, a reserved man who wants to be loved and to love someone. Oh, I know, he was so good, wasn't he? And I don't know if you noticed before, but John Dory's backstory kind of rhymes, don't it? Okay. Anyway, the next morning, John is about to go about his business as usual, and he finds his home has been trashed, and the woman he saved is missing. And he finds her outside, of course, trying to find the keys so she can take his car. He doesn't try to stop her, though. He tells her where the keys are above the visor. But the engine won't start. You think he knew that? Yeah, probably. He offers up his home until she gets well enough to leave. And that was pretty cool, the way he threaded that fish hook. And with the fishing line so she can stitch up her wound, tipping him off to the fact she was a nurse before the outbreak. But she asked him to do it. She's like, I can't do this. That was a pretty nasty cut, too. Later, as he's pouring her a bowl of fish stew, I suppose you can get used to it, though, right? He asks her if he can call her Laura, because she looks like Laura. Okay, that works, right? So, he stitches it up. That's one thing you got to get used to, I guess, in the ZA, right? Okay. John, of course, partitions it off around the bed and takes the couch so he can sleep. Quite the gentleman, isn't he? He's unable to sleep that night, and Laura finds him out on the porch cleaning his guns. By daybreak, John's clearing out 2 more walkers who found their way to his home from the river. He tells Laura he wants to go upstream to see where all these walkers are coming from. But it's Tuesday. What does he do on Tuesday? What does John do on Tuesdays? Okay. That's the second question. So we will answer these. So what does John do on Tuesdays? Because he says he wants to know where a lot of these walkers are coming from, but it's Tuesday. It's part of his routine. I'm not going to tell you yet. I will come back to that. And Laura wants to go with him, of course. John offers her boots to wade through the terrain. And of course, like he's, the snakes that are lingering in the water. Yeah, no. Yeah. Excuse me. But she declines the offer. She wants to be able to run. Okay, rowing along the river, she asks John about his story, and he reveals he used to be a police officer, a profession he liked for a while. He also performed trick shooting and lassoing for Wild West shows for fun. I kind of figured it was something like that. He's a Wild Bill Hickok there. So that's a pretty cool backstory with him. The trick shooting and lassoing part-time. And they reached the source of the problem. A car fell over the side of a bridge and crashed into the water, and it left an opening in the railing or walker. They fall in. They just walk and boom, they fall in. They first head to the place for supplies, where Laura grabs her bag that John will later recognize when Alicia, Luciana, and Victor are unearthing their hidden supplies. That's the bag she grabs there that he recognizes later. She rearranges some of the store shelves so supplies to make splints are close by the medicine. And she mentions people might not think to look for stuff like that in the heat of the moment. Of course they don't. Would you? Would you think of getting splints and stuff if you're just there to get, what you could? I don't know if I would. You think you would, but you're caught up in the moment, maybe not. So, pretty cool on Laura's part. But I liked that we see where she got the bag to begin with. Before they leave, John goes over to the movie rental part of the store. He's been taking out one movie every Tuesday, even signing his name on the clipboard. Some of the ones he's seen include Labyrinth. Good taste, right? And he found that unsettling, by the way. Green Mile. Like I said, good taste. He found that too long, though. And Friday the 13th, of course, which he found too violent. And this week, what does he pick out? Do you know? He picks out Meet John Doe. Perhaps a play on his name, John Dory. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. Excellent choices, though, right? He's got good taste in movies, of course. I don't know. I found up to those. This episode kind of. I like the backstory and I like the characters. Man, I wanted to smack her though a little bit when she was like, going to run away and, God, stay away from me type thing. It's like, chill. If he was going to kill, he'd have done it, or anything else for that matter. It'd have, So, yeah, she was kind of a witch at the beginning. And they go outside and they look up and see large metal sheets above the gas pumps, which they take back to the bridge. They want to seal that gap. Later that night, Laura wakes up and finds John having movie night with some popcorn on the couch. There you go. She joins him as his ladle rental is playing Meet John Doe. And finally she smiles, a sign she's finally letting that guard down. As he offers to make butterscotch caramel brittle out of his candies. Wow. And he can cook too, so wow. Butterscotch caramel brittle. Not a fan of butterscotch, but that is really pretty good in the ZA, right? And Laura tells John that night as he dozes in and out of sleep that she lost her child. This seemed like an obvious assumption when she first met Madison and said she didn't have a daughter, if you remember, okay? So he's kind of dozing on and off. That's pretty cool. He can have movie night. I think that's great. I have on there, what is Johnson? Dang autocorrect. What is John's alarm clock? Ugh, dang autocorrect. I just saw it. So see if you remember. I thought it was pretty funny because they were so popular back in the day. And surprise, surprise, the next day, Laura asked John to teach her how to fish, which I think you should know. I mean, you got to eat, right? Time passes. We see them maintaining a home together, helping with chores, playing Scrabble, and watching movies. And it makes it a lot more difficult for John when she says she'll be healed enough to move on within the next few days. And this grief is again stoked when they return to the bridge after walkers had broke through again. You gotta love those water walkers, right? Laura had hot-wired a car, a skill she says she learned from a woman at a colony she stayed with. He also sees she had grabbed one of his pistols without his permission. And he grabs it back right away. He's like, no. And reminds her that he doesn't want to use them, even as they are clearing out the dead on the bridge. And they're attacked again by a walker as they're parking a car in front of the gap. This one, I love the blade protruding through his body. That is so great. And is able to break through the driver's side window to lunge at John. And Laura's up there yelling, shoot him. And John refuses to fire his weapon and furiously stabs the walker with Laura's knife repeatedly. It's like he's like, ah, and stuff splatters all over them both. I don't know how it got on her. She was kind of up above the car, but okay, we'll go with that. So, we're like sitting here thinking, John, why don't you use those guns? You have them with you. Why do you not use them? And of course, that's probably going through Laura's mind as well. I love John Dory's character. It is, he's doing a phenomenal job with it. I don't know. I like the backstory, but I don't know if we should have had a whole episode about it. Just my opinion, guys. And of course, as always, you're going to have spoilers in here if you haven't seen it. This is definitely not the place to be if you're planning on watching it. I don't want to give anything away that'll, dissuade you from watching it. All in all, it was a good episode, but I don't know. We'll talk about it a little more after we get through the episode. So they're in this car they put by the gap, and she's kind of outside on the roof, and he's inside. A walker lunges at. I love the blade protruding through his body. It's great. And instead of shooting him, he stabs him repeatedly. So we're going to stop here. And take a quick break. Let me know what you thought of this episode. It was great to learn some things about both of them. Kind of answered some questions I think we all had. I want to say, Lori, sorry you couldn't be here tonight, honey. She had some bad luck with electronics. So maybe next time, dear. Okay? So, yeah, Lori was going to be my guest co-host tonight, but she had some technical issues, electronical issues, and wasn't able to watch this episode. So, hope you're listening, hon. Hope you're listening. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back with the second half of episode 5. Laura, if you have any questions about this episode, get in the chat and ask me. I'll answer it best I can, okay? Okay, don't go away. We'll be right back.